Hello, friends. Welcome. Today, we are going to discuss some aspects around communication and around productivity. And I have a budding author, a very young author with us today.
Hello, hi Vikas.
Hello, Meg.
Hi.
Welcome. And I just told the audience that we have a very young, budding author with us today. Somebody who's just, I would say, graduated from college and very fresh and fresh with ideas and brimming with life.
True,
So
true.
welcome, guys. And I would love to know some part of your journey in brief. And yes, I have a couple of questions so that our audience gets much more from you in terms of whatever you're doing. So just a small recap on your journey and how life has been for you.
Well, so life has been good, but if I answer that part of the question. And if you ask about my journey as an author, I think so. My book name is Joyous Hands in Happy Feet, and it's kind of an unusual name when you come around for a book, right? But of course, it has a story behind it. Believe me, in my head, it is a very good story. So it all started. If I talk about my journey, it all started after my 12th. When I scored a good 90% and I am from Delhi. So all of us are tend to go to DU, North Campus, South Campus, etc. So that
Right.
path that I thought that of course I'm gonna take. And I went there and I was like, this is not something I really want to do. I never wanted to be a part of the rat race. That is when I decided to do my BSc Beauty and Wellness from Symbiosis, and it was a good course. It was a graduation which I needed. And at that point of time, when I went into my college, I realized the lack of literature that beauty and wellness as an industry have. Because if you look into, I went there. Our teachers were teaching us a topic like manicure and pedicure. If you talk about our subjects, they taught us in like 6 slides, and we were from class 12. We were, used to mug up those big BST books, account books, and I'm like, oh my god, four
Right.
slide PPT and it is done. And if you look into it, I just wrote a 320 detailed page guide. So you can see the lack of literature that was happening from four slide PPT to that. So
Okay.
when quarantine happened, of course, this thing extended a lot because of the gap of communication with my teachers. And that point of time, everything was just going up my head. I was thinking that there's no use of my degree because I'm not getting anything. So at that point of time, my dad said, Mehak, why don't you write a book? And then I was like, no, I can't do that. Go write it. Start somewhere. I started thinking that I'm writing a 5-page article, and then it's gradually went into a book, and now the book got published.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
So now that you've explained the story, Mehak, I have one question for you. So the book arose more out of your frustration and curiosity, if I were to put both the words together, right? Because
So
of the lack of literature that you found in the market, and more out of your curiosity. So frustration and curiosity. Now, talking to audiences, and this is a question. So let's say if I were to talk in terms of communication.
yeah,
So writing a book is a great form of expression.
yeah.
Now, do you really feel somebody ought to be good at the spoken language also for him or her to be a good writer?
If you're talking about English as a language,
Not English. So let's say whichever language you're comfortable in writing in.
yeah.
What do you feel? Should a person be really a good speaker, a conversationalist also? Does that help?
I guess so it helps if you are if you're writing a book that is too much into research. Like I was talking to people, I talk to people in spas in my industry to get a wider knowledge of it. Of course, if you're a communicator, it helps a lot in that sense. And but I think so even if you're not but if you have a good hold on a language, you can do grammatically good, and you can frame good sentences. It doesn't need to have some complex sentences, some complex words, just simple few sentences. I think so you're good to go.
Okay. So how long did you take to really compile that book? Did you really have a deadline or you just went along one article after another and it actually took the form of a book? How was it?
No, actually, I started, as I said, that I started thinking that, okay, let me start by doing a 5-page article because I couldn't imagine myself writing a book, if I must say. But when there was a point in the book, I realized that yes, this is the time I want to convert this article into a book. And at that point of time, it was difficult. It was very difficult because the thing was that I decided to think that I will complete this book. I will write 5 pages every day. But the truth is that I never wrote 5 pages every day because some days were good where I wrote 7 pages. Some days were bad where I just wrote 3 or 2 pages. But I think so. One thing that I made sure was about that even on my bad days when I was feeling low, I made sure to write at least one page, whether it was a bad page, even if it contained of two pictures, a crappy
Okay.
paragraph, but it should have something. So I think the precision
Okay.
is the thing that
So as
helped
I
me.
got it, yeah. So as I got it, in a way, you're saying one may not be able to follow a fixed routine, but it's very important to be doing something every day for the
Yeah,
passion that you have. Even
yeah,
if you're not able to complete your deadline, let's say you had a deadline of writing 5 pages a day, if you're not able to do that, you should be doing something every day of your life. Is what I get out of your,
true.
yeah.
I
But
started with deadline. I thought that I had a deadline in my head, but that didn't happen because if you look into it, that deadline extended a lot. So, but at the end of the day, I wrote every page, I edited every day, I made sure of that, and फिर वो आ ही गया.
perfect. So, Mac, I do a lot of work on productivity with many corporates.
Yeah,
And when you talk about official work professionals, we
yeah,
really lay a lot of emphasis on sticking to your timelines and deadlines.
yeah,
But you, let's say, having started off in your life, so do you really feel if you had followed any of these deadlines or stuck to your timelines, come what may, I will definitely, if not five, write 3 pages every day, come what may, I'll not have my dinner if I don't write those 3 pages. If you had stuck to those deadlines,
yeah.
just asking your views, so would you feel that you would have done a better job? I'm sure you would have completed it much before, but
That's true.
actually,
I would
but would
have.
you have done a better job?
I think so. Actually, I have a little bit different opinion on this question because as a writer, I knew that when you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. Like even if I push myself to write 3 pages, for example, they are not as productive as it would have been if I would have just wrote 2 pages. I know that as a writer, you say to yourself as much as you want to go for the deadlines, but at the end of the day, as a writer, I'm saying if you're not feeling it, if the words are not coming from your inside, because it's a very vigorous process, if you must say, because you're making content from scratch. You go on internet, you read everywhere, you read different material, you collect different material, you not jot down the notes. And at that point of time, sticking to a deadline, yes, it does help, but it didn't help for me because if I'm not in the mood, frankly speaking, to process the information, if my mind can't take it, I just can't write it. But yes, 1 page a day, that was my deadline. At least 1 page a day.
Perfect. Again, boiling down to the same thing which you said earlier, even if I draw a picture and do something, at least I've contributed to some part of my passion every single day. That stays in me. I know
Yeah,
I'm committed to a goal, if not a deadline. I'm committed to a goal. So I'll do whatever I can to be nearer to my goal.
yeah, true.
Perfect. So one question coming back on communication now. Uh, when I first spoke to you was more in terms of somebody being more expressive in the verbal sense.
Yeah,
Does he or her have an advantage when that person writes? Now, my second question on communication is when I talk about something in the verbal aspects. So let's say as of now we're talking to each other,
yeah,
we really get swayed by the other person's emotions. So as of now, if you were to really respond to me in a particular tone, my I really can be swayed by the emotions that you express. But
yeah,
when you're writing as an author, as a writer, let's say you're on your own,
yeah,
you don't have anybody else to reflect upon on what you've done.
yeah.
Every word or sentence you write has some sort of emotion. So how do you really keep a balance in terms of when you're communicating through your words?
Yeah.
So how do you really let your mood take control? How do you really let yourself be in a balance when you write? So something for the listeners.
Well, if I must, my book is more into the theoretical sense of the subject. So not every page and every line would have that emotion portrayed. But if you look into
Okay.
my whole book, if you look into my whole, it's out of frustration, if you must say. Because at that point of time, if you look back into my journey, I thought I needed some material to read upon. I needed something. I didn't get it, and that was a product out of frustration. That was a product out of yes, I want to do something. Then it now when I wrote one book, that emotion changed. Like now, I would want to do something because beauty and wellness is related to Skill India. If and now want to if I'm writing a material for my industry, I want to fill that gap. So the emotion changes, and of course, if you're a fictional author, or if you're writing something very personal to yourself, like poems or everything, you're able to express your emotions and your thoughts through every line. But when you're a theoretical author, where you are trying to explain a subject or a topic, the whole book, I think, so is a kind of emotion. So, yeah. Mhm.
Perfect, perfect. So I wrote my book about 2 years back. But anyways, it's been wonderful talking to you. Anything that you would want me to reflect upon? Any question that you have for me?
Yeah, so I saw that you are into you make videos. I saw your course online, and I saw the tutorial. It was very very good. So can you tell me about something on that ground?
So, Mehak, I do a lot of work, as I told you earlier, only with the corporates, but now working with a lot of professionals and I would say the retail market as well, wherein the
Yeah.
end users can actually come in and subscribe to any of these self-paced courses. So, I have a kitty of self-paced courses. I do a lot of work on leadership, on emerging leaders, on aspects of communication and attitude, networking skills. A lot of people in your age groups typically feel networking is all about being connected on Instagram and LinkedIn, but that's only a start. That's not the end of networking skills. So having worked in sales and having been through many other areas of my life, I spend a lot of time with the corporate executives. I do a lot of work with many of the college students and first time managers. So a whole spectrum of subscribers with whom I work with on aspects of leadership, selling skills, networking skills, all those elements. So I do keep posting videos every week, and I have my podcast as well. So that's how I stay connected with people of your age group as well. So that's what I do.
That's nice. That's some serious commitment I also need to take on. That's very nice. Yeah, it was
Perfect. So it's
nice.
been wonderful talking to you, Mac, and see you soon. So see you with your next book soon.
Yes, sure you would. Thank
Right. Thank you. See
you.
you.